Today, the album Night Light by the band White Lies. Hello everybody and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. If you're new here, thank you very much for checking out this video. You're probably a fan of the band White Lies. I'll get to them in a second, but first I want to just say welcome. Thank you for checking out the video. If you're unfamiliar with how we do things here, when I'm doing a reaction myself on the channel here, I'm going to hit play at the beginning of the album and listen all the way through while talking over the music a little bit, telling you what I'm hearing, what I'm enjoying, what I'm not liking, what I think about the mix, things like that. I don't generally talk about lyrics that much, but I do sort of enjoy some of White Lies' lyrics, so I may bring that up if I feel so inclined, but for the most part, we don't generally do lyric breakdowns or anything like that here. And also, I do not pause the music to comment, so I recommend you having heard this album before you watch my reaction. I highly recommend that. You should definitely experience this album yourself before watching this reaction. You don't have to listen to it the same way I am listening to it the first time with me talking over it. And then I'm going to listen to the entire thing from front to back, and then afterwards I will do my give my overall thoughts or my review, if you will. So if you want to skip to any part of the video, your favorite song, just the ending part, if you want to, that's totally fine. Skip to whatever part of the video you want. Excuse me, I can hear when my mouth is getting my mouth's a little dry right now. I was out exercising a little while ago, and anyway, it doesn't matter. I also want to say at the beginning of the video here, this is something very new for our channel, but I have created a Ko-Fi account that if you enjoy the way we do things around here and you search the channel, you kind of think you might enjoy the channel, you might think about subscribing. If you really like a particular moment of a video or you just like the way we do things around here, for now, the only way to sort of donate to us is through my Ko-Fi account, which I'll have a link to that in the description of the video. If you feel so inclined, please feel free to check that out. I'm just in the process of getting all this stuff set up. I've been doing reactions now here on the channel for several years. We have many, many reactions to different genres of music, different things, different single songs, lots of albums. Mainly we do albums here. But the main way we do reactions here on the channel is I always include the music from the album in the video that you are watching on the channel. So if you ever see a video or come across a video here on the channel, which usually I have this listed in the description, it'll be all over the video. But if I can't include the music in the video, it is for a copyright reason, that the video has been blocked worldwide when I tried to upload it with the music included. And so what that means is including the music in every video means we don't get any ad revenue from any of our videos that we have posted here on the channel over the last several years. Very few videos on the channel that we upload don't have music in them. So for example, our Metallica videos, which our channel is kind of known for here, we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views on some of those videos, and we have never made a cent off of any of those videos. All ad revenue from those videos goes to Metallica or whoever the copyright holder of the music is that we feature in our videos. So we've been doing this for long enough. We're very happy and proud of all the videos we've done and the quality of the content that we have here on the channel. So if you really enjoy what we're doing, think about donating to the channel. I will be setting up a Patreon account and we'll have some stuff on there. We're still in the process of trying to figure out what we're doing there. But anyway, if that sounds interesting to you, check out the link to the Ko-Fi account. And then if you want to learn more about all of this stuff or just our channel in general, there's no fee or anything like that, but please go check out our Discord channel. That's where you can talk to us directly on there, me and any of the other reactors here on the channel, and then also the awesome community that we've grown there on Discord. So I highly recommend checking that out if you enjoy the way we do things around here. Let's see what else. It's past October, so I don't need to talk about Cancer Awareness Month, but everyone should think about that, donating and everything. It's saved my life earlier this year, but we don't need to go into that now. I have many videos here on my channel. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just check out my cancer playlist. So let's talk about White Lies. And in order for me to start talking about this album, I just want to say right off the bat that every year here on the channel for many years, since 2010 is the first list I started doing, but I didn't do them on YouTube at the time. But Since 2010, I have been making my top 12 albums of the year lists. And that's something I put a lot of effort into. I listen to hundreds and hundreds of albums every year. I'm not saying I listen to the entirety of hundreds of albums. I probably listen to maybe 150 or so full albums throughout the year, all that came out this year. But my entire year is basically listening to only music that came out in that year, in this year, in 2025 in this case, plus a few old things that I enjoy, and then music that I'm reacting to here on the channel. But I am addicted to listening to brand new music. And it's not everything. I haven't listened to every album that's come out this year, but around November, October and November every year, I start to have extreme anxiety and freak out over the fact that there are so many albums I haven't heard throughout the year. So that being said, this time of year is crazy for me. I try to do a bunch of reactions, and some bands that I want to do reactions to, I just know the videos won't get very many views, and I just don't have enough time. I have to prioritize certain things, and so I just listen to the album without doing a reaction to them, and that's fine. And I'm not saying that all the albums that I listen to throughout the year we do reactions to. That's absolutely not true and not possible at all. But White Lies, when I found out that this band was releasing a new album this year, several months ago, I pre-saved the album as soon as I could on Spotify, and I have been looking forward to this because their previous album, As I Try Not to Fall Apart, I believe that's what the album's called. Let me look. As I Try Not to Fall Apart. That album, which came out in 2022, I believe, was one of the best years of music that we've had here on our on this channel doing our lists. The last, probably, I think 6 or 7 years, I've been doing a list with my friend Chris, and we do a video together or 2 videos every year. It's a massive project that I work on in December, and I highly recommend checking that out for this year. In 2022, I heard their album As I Try Not to Fall Apart, and I had heard of White Lies before that. I actually own a copy of their first album on CD. I've owned this for many years. I bought it when it was used, I believe, for like $4 or $5 at the old record store I used to work at, Hastings Entertainment. And I bought so many albums there, and I have a collection of CDs of over almost 4,000 CDs that I have. I love collecting CDs, and so I have a lot of them that I haven't really listened to, but I have this album. I've had it for years, and I listened to it when I bought it, and I remember it not really leaving much of an impact on me. I enjoy bands like Interpol and things like that. I think at the time when I bought this, I was thinking it would kind of be a little bit Interpol-y, maybe. And since then, I've grown to absolutely fall in love with a genre of music, and I don't know if this is totally accurate or not, but I consider it EBM music, but I'm not sure if that's exactly it. Sort of like a modern synth wave, synth noir sort of style of music that I would say And One is the ambassadors of, but then also bands like Camouflage, modern Camouflage. Depeche Mode falls into this, and Depeche Mode are their own thing because they've been making music for so long. But Mesh is also a band that I would consider in this category. There are not a ton of bands that make music that I'm specifically talking about like this. One of the bands that has flirted with that, though, is a band called The Editors. And in 2022, they had an album coming out called EBM, and I was very much looking forward to it. And their previous album called Violence is one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. I had known who they were, but when they released the album Violence, it absolutely shocked me. And I think of the band White Lies sort of in a similar vein to the band Editors. They kind of started out the same, have kind of morphed into being a bit more of the style of music that I enjoy. I did not know that White Lies was coming. I hadn't listened to anything of theirs other than their first album, so I've totally been ignoring them for however long. I think this album came out when? 2009. So I've been ignoring them for 15 years. And when that album came out, when As I Try Not to Fall Apart came out, I listened to it on a whim, and I started it, and I was like, whoa. From the moment that album starts, I love the keyboards. Doo-doo-doo. The terrible notes, but, you know, this sort of ominous sort of synth part. And then it kicks in, and the drums and the bass in particular really shocked me. Very, very few albums that I own. Of the 4,000 plus albums that I own, there's probably maybe like 10 albums that I like focus on the bass really and enjoy the bass playing a lot. I'm not like a bass guy, as evidenced by our reactions to the Yes albums here on the channel recently. But when I first heard As I Try Not to Fall Apart, the entire album by White Lies, I was struck by the bass. The first track is like crazy bass playing. It's incredible. It's very sort of funky feeling, but the song doesn't feel like a funk song at all. It's just nonstop from the word go. And then song 2 has like this awesome, very simplistic synth bass part. And I absolutely love it. And that whole album kind of alternates between synth bass and real bass, and it's just fantastic. The drums sound phenomenal. The vocals are incredible. The whole mix is one of the most round sounding mixes I've ever heard. It's got such nice, the frequencies are perfect. The compression is perfect. Everything about that album I feel is so fantastic. And in 2022, when I heard it, I discovered it at the very end of the year, about this time of the year. I don't remember when it came out. And I may have discovered it a few weeks after it came out. But I know it was towards the end of the year because I had only had like a week or so with it before we were doing our video for our lists of top 12. And I think, if I remember correctly, that year it ended up my number 5 or number 4, maybe. And that year there was New Mook. There was, I think that was the Joywave year. I could be wrong, but there were like that year was a banger year, if I'm remembering correctly. And the fact that White Lies was that high on my list to now, I regret, because I think that album was so good. It could have been my number 2 or number 3, and maybe even a case for number 1. And so I have grown to love that album so much. And I've been keeping my eye out for albums of theirs on CD over the last few years. And I haven't found any like cheap copies online, or just, I very rarely make it to the city to like look through any CD stores. And where I live here in Nebraska, we only really have one music store that's like that still sells new things and sells a lot of CDs, has a big selection. It's called Homer's in downtown Omaha, and I very rarely get down there. And when I last time I was there, actually, though, they did have a used copy of Ritual, their album Ritual, which is, I think, their second album. And I haven't really listened to it that much yet, but I really want to go backwards in their catalog from As I Try Not to Fall Apart backwards, and I haven't listened to those albums yet. I love As I Try Not to Fall Apart so much. I've been kind of waiting in case I wanted to do reactions on the channel here, or just till I can find the CDs and listen to them properly. But I loved that album so much that I knew when they were going to release a new album that it was going to be something I looked forward to very much. And I say all of that to get to this point here to say, I think that this album has the potential. I have not heard a second of this. It may be mixed terrible. You know, I was talking about the Editors and their album EBM that came out in 2022. That is one of the most disappointingly mixed albums I've ever heard. I think it sounds terrible, actually, that album, which is a huge bummer. I bought like the deluxe edition of it and stuff when it came out. I was very excited. And then when I listened to it, I have a reaction here on the channel to it. Did I ever put it out, I wonder? I think I edited it. I'm not sure if I ever did. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I did. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing to me. And then when I heard that White Lies album, it totally made all the disappointment of the Editors album go away, because I found what I was kind of looking for, but wrapped up in the White Lies package. And so I don't actually even know that much about this band in terms of like who the members are, anything like that. I haven't really dug into it very much. I'm the type of person that does want to listen to everything when I find a new band, and I have been holding back with this band. And now that this album's out, it came out 2 days ago, I am so pumped to listen to this, but I have very high expectations, and I think that this album could be my number 1 album for the year. Right now, as we're recording this, I believe my number 1 album for the year is Pendulum's album, Inertia. Although don't tell Chris Parker that, because we try to keep each other, like our lists, separate and secret from each other when we do our top 12 lists, so it's sort of like a reveal. But is that Chris? No. But that is my expectations for this. They're very high. Having really only heard 2 of their albums, right? Their most recent one and their very first one. And I do not care for this album very much. I went back and listened to it after I fell in love with As I Try Not to Fall Apart. And I was just like, yeah, this isn't really my thing. It wasn't what I was looking for with them. I should try to give it another listen now. But I have very high expectations. I know I've said it like 3 times now. And I want everyone watching this video, however many people do, to understand that. And generally on the channel, what I've found is when I go into an album with very high expectations, something happens that just rips my heart out and stomps on it. Somehow, this album will have something wrong with it, some flaw in the mixing that will just rip my heart out and stomp it to shreds. One thing here on the channel that is constant always is that we don't abide by fade outs here on the channel. This is my fade outs board and I need to find my chalk. It's been missing now for like half a year. But we keep track of fade outs on an album, and one fade out on an album is a failing grade, because I believe that fade outs are lazy songwriting, and there's never, literally, never an excuse to fade a song out. I don't believe it's ever been handled with grace. Well, no, that's not true. I believe there are some songs that have handled the fade out situation with grace, but I still think it's lazy and bad songwriting. You can always find a creative way to end your song. And on As I Try Not to Fall Apart, I think there are 3, if not 4 songs that fade out. And so that tells you how much I love and adore that album, that I'm willing to overlook my biggest pet peeve, not only in music, but in life, the fade out. I cannot stand fade outs. And so I'm expecting some of the songs on this album to fade out. It would be a huge surprise to me and a very awesome one. And I would appreciate it so much if none of the songs on this album do fade out. But considering the number that do on As I Try Not to Fall Apart, I'm assuming there's going to be some fade outs. And I will be bummed about that. So I'm just forewarning people. I will complain about that at the time. But if this album lives up to my expectations, which may be impossible, I will admit that, it may be impossible, I would probably be willing to overlook the fade outs, which is something I never ever say on the channel here. So without further ado, I'm not going to go too long at this. I just want to get to the album and listen to it. Let's see. Am I showing you guys what I'm listening to? No, it doesn't matter in this case. It looks like White Lies has only, I say only, but 1,164,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. They deserve more than that. I'm hoping that this album justifies that opinion of this, or my opinion of that. So it looks like, I have not looked at the lengths of the songs or anything yet. I have not looked at this album yet. It looks like track 1 is a single because it has almost 1 million plays, almost 900,000 plays. And then the final track, track 9, it looks like, there's only 9 songs. How long is the album? 43 minutes, a perfectly wonderful length for an album. However, there's only 9 tracks, which tells me some of them are going to probably be pretty long. Yes, there's a 6-minute, 5.5, 5:18, 4:30, 6-minute, all of them over 4, except for 2. So that's very exciting. I like songs that are longer, that have patience within the songs. I love that. So track 1 is a single. Track 9 also looks like it's been a single for a shorter amount of time, at least about 500,000 plays. It looks like track 3 for almost 500,000 plays as well. So just under 5,000, whereas track 9 in the middle is over 500,000. Everything else has between 40,000 and 20,000, it looks like. So there's a good 20,000 people that have at least listened to this album once so far over the last few days, and I'm hoping all those numbers go up. And if you can't tell, I'm very nervous for this. There are 2 albums this year that I've been really nervous for. One is this album, and it just came out, so I'm reacting to it pretty much right away. The other album is from one of the bands that I consider to be one of my top 2 favorite bands of all time. They came out with an album while I was in the hospital earlier this year, recovering from a bone marrow transplant, and I didn't want to do a reaction to it while I was in the hospital because I wanted to do a special reaction here. And since then, I've been too scared to actually do the reaction because I'm just terrified that if the album's bad, it will gut me to the core. But the band is Mook, a Japanese metal band. They've never really disappointed me. I believe that every album they have is worthy of being in my top 12. Okay, White Lies, 2025. It's been 3 years since their previous album. Let's get it. Track 1, Nothing on Me. This is track 1 from White Lie's album Nightlight, which just came out a few days ago. 2025. Nothing on Me in 3, 2, 1. Yes, I hear synth bass, or I hear synth in there. So let's go. Be at least as good, mix-wise, as your last album. Okay, the drum's not as massive, my first thought. It's a different mix. Okay, guitars and synths in there. I may need to turn it up a little. Okay. Kick drum's not as massive at all. Sounds way more like real drums. Cannot hear the kick really at all. There's no definition to it. It's just a little putty kick. All right. Hi-hat's mixed off to the right, which is a reverse from what I enjoy. I enjoy it from the drummer's perspective, not audience perspective, mix-wise, but that's neither here nor there. It sounds a lot noisier. The mix sounds a lot looser, a lot less tight. The song's not very dynamic at all. It's basically been the same size the entire time. Maybe this is just sort of like an intro-y track. It definitely feels more like older. Again, I've only heard their first album, and as I try not to fall apart. And As I Try Not to Fall Apart is not noisy like this. The whole mix is much rounder. The kick and the snare are very loud. The cymbals weren't as present. The bass was enormous and fat right in the middle. This is very noisy, very wall of soundy, but also not as compressed. It's a more dynamic mix. Okay, that was basically a useless song to me, but maybe it's just an intro. That should not have been a single. Okay. I keep feeling like I need to turn it up louder, but I know I don't need to. You're hearing, I'm hearing it like my own way. What I'm showing you is not the volume that I'm listening. Very quiet. I'll turn it up. Okay. Now I'm not your boy. I forgot how to work the phone. My heart is so unemployed. The bass has much less definition to it. A lot more of guitar being present, I feel. Feels much more like a band. As I Try Not to Fall Apart felt a lot more almost electronic in nature. I mean, this just feels like rock music. Almost everything that was special to me about As I Try Not to Fall Apart is missing from this mix. I mean, this seems to me like a little more close to something like the Arctic Monkeys, maybe, than the Editors or to Depeche Mode or something like that. I'm very disappointed right now. But we've got, 40 minutes left for me to come to accept that this is just not the same approach that I enjoyed on their last album. And maybe it'll grow on me. That's awesome. Sounded almost like a flute or something. Acoustic guitars. Okay, it's a rock album, not what I wanted. That's fine. Let me... Bass still sounds like the part's really nice. It's in their proper volume. There's just less definition to it. Organ. Keyboards are awesome. Not as defining a feature as they were on the songs. I wonder if they had a lot of people complain about As I Try Not to Fall Apart that it didn't sound as much like them. Interesting. Okay, flanging. Okay. Slap back delay on some of the stuff. On the drums. Ooh. I like how big the chorus felt. This is nice. Yes. Oh, yeah. I love the, synth pad in the back. Synth patch. And I love this. Taking the time. It's a little progressive-y, which is kind of cool. Are they going to go back to the chorus? Or are they just going to kind of meander around here? Okay. I feel like this sounds like a similar chorus to one of their older songs. Something on the coast or something. There's a big, massive sound in the background that is low frequency that has reverb on it, and I've never really understood why you would put reverb on some low frequency thing like that. It sounds like an organ or something almost, but it's interesting. Okay, I'm getting past my disappointment. I want to just enjoy it for what it is. Keep Up, track 3. Ooh, there we go. More definition on the bass. Maybe it's just the way it was being played. Love the background vocals, the layering, guitar in the middle. Yep. Nice. Very catchy. Which, hey, I like catchy music. I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. Pretty loud, the vocals there. Ooh, that big, massive reverb thing is back in the background. Almost sounds like there's reverb on the bass guitar, which would be absurd thing to do. They didn't go back to that sort of keep on part or whatever. Keep up, keep up, keep up. Don't knock my rhythm again, or whatever. They didn't do that 3 times, but they did have a big chorusy thing to finish it at the end. Interesting. Okay, track 4, Juice. We're almost halfway through the album, which is absurd. No songs have faded out yet, by the way. Ooh, love that. It's definitely mixed a lot looser, like I said, more like a rock band and less electronic sounding, which is what I liked about their previous album. Piano. A lot of acoustic guitar on the album. I'm surprised about that. Love the piano. There's no fair way to play. There's no right card to choose. There's no safe way to yeah, love the piano. Vocals have a little distortion on them here, but it's kind of nice. Still very loud and clear, nice high-pitched backing vocal there. Half-tempo feeling, yes. Tambourine. Tambourine not really compressed a lot. I think you can hear it going, but it's this. It's very tempting with tambourine to really compress the snot out of it. Unless they were just hitting it once and I was hearing cymbal and other, like maybe shaker or something in there. Very cool. I like this song a lot. I like the previous one as well. A lot of effects on the vocals.
Lash to lash, the whip abused. It's a bully of a hand, but look, it's bleeding too. Bleeding the same as you.
Nice guitar solo, maybe? Yes. I almost feel like there's Pink Floyd in this, and I am not I've only heard one Pink Floyd album, but for some reason Pink Floyd is the thing that comes to me. This totally could fade out. I was looking for my chalk because I can just feel the fade out coming. Oh, let's go. Thank you. Thank you, White Lies. All right, going into next track, Everything Is Okay. We went from Okay. Ooh. Oh, you can really hear the movement of the piano. I love the sound effects of the people in the background milling around. I love stuff like that.
I swore I'd never write a song for you. But it's a
Love those drums, the programmed drums.
things I never do.
Love his voice.
I know I've pulled away the tablecloth from under the feast. I hope the time is kind on me for weathering these weathered weeks. I think that everything is okay, or nothing will be
Ooh, cool.
okay again.
Love the synths. I love synths and piano.
I said that everything is okay, or nothing will be okay again.
That's the way you have to look at life sometimes. Everything's okay, right? That fire meme with the dog from the cartoon in the fire. Everything is okay. It's all fine. Everything is fine.
Everything is okay, or nothing will be okay again.
Ooh, guitars in there a little. Okay. Right in the middle. Very nice. Very cool.
I got the place in better order, but I keep getting
This is actually reminding me more of Editors than the previous White Lies album, so it's interesting.
up with the trauma of a life living heavy scenes. I should be kinder to my body, but I wanna see what it can take. It's like I'm hanging off a cliff in a car above a hungry lake. I think that everything is okay, or nothing will be okay again.
Oh, this is awesome. The way it's building the song.
Said that everything is okay, or nothing
piano is gorgeous across the whole thing. There's like some sort of a along with the all right, what are we gonna do? Something different here. It's gonna fade out. There's a minute 18 seconds left. They've repeated this now 6 times. Give me a little guitar solo here or something. Synth in there. Okay, pieces are going away. Guitar's still in there. Interesting. Interesting. Not a traditionally structured song by any means. Bit of a bummer. Kind of a waste of some space there to pad out the album going back there. But I like this space. All right, now we're like, I don't even know, 4 songs to go, going nowhere. Nice tight groove here. Still weird to me that this hi-hats are on the right side. The dude who mixed this definitely does not play drums. Piano's back. That really, the going nowhere part reminds me of something. Okay, going into a solo now. Interesting. They're playing around with song structuring here, which is not my favorite thing. I really like more traditionally structured songs, but maybe that's not something they really do that much. I did enjoy that aspect, sort of going back to a chorus, you know, and everything on as I try not to fall apart, but his vocals are definitely different on this song, I feel. Okay, cool. Back to the going nowhere part. I feel like the part before this was the chorus, but maybe this is more the chorus. I like this a lot, though. This is an interesting song. Very different from what I've heard from them before. Just the vibe of it. But it still definitively sounds like them. More flanging or phasing effects. Might be a key change maybe there. Going nowhere. Very busy right here. Very noisy, busy. A lot of stuff going on. But they're keeping that consistent vocal line in there. Shaker off to the right. Acoustic guitar balancing the sort of cymbals. This one could fade out at any second. Ooh, a saxophone. Thank goodness I didn't hear that really during the song. I hate saxophones. Fun way to end it, though. Fun way. Yeah. Okay, Nightlight. I am enjoying this. It's just not what I wanted, and that's fine. That's on me. It's a lot more busy. Just the arrangements of the songs, everything we're hearing. Acoustic guitar, beautiful off to the left. Almost flamenco style. Piano off to the right. It is very well mixed. It's very dynamic. Yes. The stabs on the piano are at an interesting time. It makes the whole thing feel kind of wonky timing-wise. Just one vocal line from him so far. Drums are using brushes. Yes, yeah. More soundscape stuff behind it. Gorgeous piano now. Let's go. I love the layering of, they're not afraid to layer piano synths and stuff in there. Multiple layers of the keyboard instrument. All right, what are we gonna do? What a fun place for the song to go. Love the use of synths. That bass is playing really high too. Really nice. A lot of stuff going on again. Very busy sounding. Interesting. I didn't go back to the chorus a third time again, but interesting. No fade outs so far. All right, track 8. I just want to win one time. Oh, more of the great piano. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Ooh, low piano notes spread wide. Almost like a siren sound in there. Interesting groove again. It's a weird time signature. I have no idea what the time signature is. Very interesting. What a weird feel with the timing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have no idea. I have no idea. This is beyond me, and I'm pretty dumb, so. God, this is so weird. It just feels wrong. I mean, it doesn't feel wrong, but it's weird and different. Oh no, the saxophone's back. Shut up, saxophone. No, don't do the saxophone thing. Don't do that. Saxophone sounds like an animal dying. Always, like some sort of screeching rabbit. Awesome vocal stuff in there. It almost felt like there was like an extra beat like every measure, but that would make it 5/4, and it wasn't in 5/4, I have no clue. All right, last track. Feels like we've flown through this. This is In the Middle. That first track was trash, so I don't know why that was a single. Interesting. There's just this constant feeling in the background of like fluttering. Interesting. Ouch, sorry. Little synthy part in the middle, nice. Could be guitar. Guitar. Maybe mixed with synth. Louder. Okay. Meandery feeling, kind of nice. I do like stuff like this, where it's just long section. I doubt they'll go back to the... I would love it for them to do the chorus one more time. I would love that a lot. I don't think they will, though. Little congos and muggles. Bass is going crazy here. A little tougher to tell what it's doing. There's no definition to it, really. Ooh, I love that. Oh, that's a saxophone. Never mind. Forget I said that. That's so Metal Gear Solid 3. Right? Snake Eater? Okay, so I just spent a little time looking through the Wikipedia page for the band to see if it said anything in there about, like, anything that they specifically said about, sorry, I forgot to do this. It helps prevent my nose from whistling. So I apologize about that. But anyway, it didn't say anything about this album. I thought maybe it would say, like, oh, they were trying to be more jazzy or progressive or whatever. And I think maybe what happened is, okay, so first of all, my overall thought is, on initial first listen, I am disappointed in this. I don't think that I will ever grow to like this album more than their previous album or have it be equal to that at all. I think what may have happened accidentally is that I fell in love with an album in a band's discography that is really different. People let me know in the comments, because I don't want to just rush off and listen to samples of stuff from some of their other albums, especially their album that came out before, As I Try Not to Fall Apart, and then their album before that. Like, I love all the synths. I love the use of all the synths, but just the way the album was mixed on As I Try Not to Fall Apart was so special. This was mixed very different and approached more like a rock band. The songs were very noisy and busy during a lot of places, which I did happen a little bit on As I Try Not to Fall Apart, but not nearly to that extent. And it's almost the mix of that album that I enjoy more. The song structuring, which I mentioned a lot on this album, on White Nightlight, they didn't have specifically like ABA, song structuring on As I Try Not to Fall Apart. And then, as I said, that also faded out. So several of the songs faded out. Here, none of the songs faded out. I feel like they got dangerously close a couple of times, but they didn't. They managed to just have the band play the song and kind of stop playing. This is kind of one of my big fears with listening to an album so late in the year like this. This, to me, sounds like an album that I need to listen to several times before I would choose whether or not to include it on my list. As of right now, first impression, this does not make my list of top 12 for this year. There's been a lot of really great stuff. However, I don't ever listen to albums more than once in a row. I never listen to them more than once, ever in a row. I listen to an album, then I must listen to other things before I come back to it again. So like tonight I'll listen to something else, and then tomorrow I actually have to drive back to the hospital, and it's a long enough drive that I could listen to this entire album. So I'll probably put this album on in the car tomorrow, listen to it all the way from front to back. And then after, I may have to, I just don't listen to albums multiple times in a row. I never do that. And so this feels like something that may have to have time to grow on me. And even still then, I don't, generally my first impression of music is the impression that I keep with me. Very rarely does an album grow on me over time to the point where it becomes one of my favorite things. Usually I can tell right away whether I love something right away, and then the more I listen to it, the more I appreciate it, or I listen to it like this and I was immediately kind of disappointed. That first song was awful, I think. It's been a while, but the first song was not good in my opinion at all. I can't believe that was released as a single. That was just total waste of time in my opinion. I hated the way it sounded. Saxophone in there. I didn't even realize it at the time, huh? It's interesting. There was a lot of reverb on things that I didn't think needed reverb on it to make the song intentionally feel bigger on the first few tracks, and I really disagreed with that. Like I said, I don't know why anyone would put reverb on a low frequencyed instrument. Like it just creates this booming feeling that doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, belong in music. It's as a sound effect or something, I could totally see that, but in music, it's just strange, and so I didn't care for how that worked. As the album went on, I got much more okay with what they were doing, and I started to really enjoy it. There were definitely songs that I loved on this album. Juice was great. Keep Up was really great. Everything Is Okay is awesome. Almost every song to me felt like they played the first half of a song, and then the last half of the song or last third was just kind of like meandery, which is okay. I always vastly prefer when a band goes back to a chorus at the end of the song, but it's okay that they didn't. Obviously, this is just that's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying they have to do what I want or anything like that. I'm just telling you what they would have needed to have done for me to enjoy it more. But again, the structuring on As I Try Not to Fall Apart isn't also my favorite thing. Like they didn't do everything exactly the way I love it there either, but because of the way that album was mixed and because of the way they approached that, it's just like perfect to me. Not perfect, but it's like really, really, really great album. And so it is interesting. I was looking on their Wikipedia page, and there was a part that said, I should actually probably read that. It said, I was looking up a band that Teardrops. In their musical style and influences, it's really interesting. It says they cited Talking Heads as a major influence, which Talking Heads, my friend Cody, who I mentioned earlier, my cousin, Talking Heads is one of his favorite bands, that Talking Heads and Devo. And it says White Lie's darker sound has been primarily compared to Joy Division, Interpol, and Editors, which I talked about Editors and Interpol in the video, which I did not know that they were, as well as Arcade Fire, The Killers, Echo and the Bunnymen, which I don't know Echo and the Bunnymen at all, Tears for Fears, I love Tears for Fears, and the Teardrop Explodes. Now, Teardrop Explodes, I've literally never heard of in my life. All these other bands I've heard of. And so I clicked on Teardrop Explodes just to see what it was. I've never heard of this band. Never heard their big single, which I think was called Reward or something. I was listening to little samples of it just now between when I stopped listening to the album when I started talking again, and it sounds just like Editors, which is pretty crazy. They're from like the 80s and into the 90s, and they sound just like this, which is pretty crazy. Never heard of them at all, so that's interesting. And I love Tears for Fears, and we're going to do the Joy Division reaction here on the channel to their album. So it's really interesting. I just, they're one of the things that they specifically has said that they're influenced by the Talking Heads as well as a band called the Secret Machines. And I actually love the Secret Machines. I have all I have their first, I think, 5 albums, and they're fantastic. I love the way they do drums. They do have more like droning songs where they just repeat things a lot, so I can definitely see that here. I think their drums sound fantastic on Secret Machines, but I can definitely tell where that influence is coming from. So knowing that, it's a little interesting to me. I'm curious now to go back in their catalog and listen to some of their other albums, because I don't think I would necessarily like it as much as I did. Like I said, I think the thing I'm kind of coming away from this is I accidentally fell in love with an album of theirs that's different from all of their other albums. And I'm just basing that off of hearing their first album and this album, which sounds much more like their first album. And so maybe I just accidentally did that. And I know bands, a lot of people hate it when a band releases one album in their career that's different from all their other albums. And then people who love that album really are annoying to people who are been fans of the band. So you were probably sitting here the whole time going, oh, you don't even know what this band really is like. You know, not to put words in your mouth, but I'm just saying the maybe the average White Lies fan, when I was talking about how much I love, as I try not to fall apart, you guys were all like, "Oh, that's their worst album. What do you like that album for?" And now that I'm hearing this, and I'm like, "Oh man, I just wish it was more like that." You're saying, "Oh, well, that's you don't you know." So very interesting. Interesting that they mentioned editors and Interpol on there. Very interesting. So I don't know. So to me, I enjoyed this sort of. I did enjoy elements of this, the more progressive elements, the songs are still long. I do feel like that first track was kind of a nothing track to me. All the other songs felt like nice, beefy songs, even though they didn't go back to the chorus. They all did feel complete to me. And some of them are, like I said, were quite long. And I like the meandering feel of some of them. It's just a different sort of style. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but it's not shocking to me that they were like that. I wish it was a little bit poppier, I guess. I Just Want to Win One Time was just strange feeling to me the whole time. It felt like something was off the whole time. And I kind of love that, actually. Like, that would be a song I would show someone and be like, see what you can feel, listen to this and tell me what you think. And I would be really curious if I showed this to someone that doesn't know anything about music theory, if they could tell that something was just off. Not off is maybe not the right word. Something is a little bit funky, timing-wise, in that song. There was definitely a measure with an extra beat in there, but consistently. So I don't know what was. I tried counting it so many times and I could not figure it out. So very interesting that they did that, and I kind of love it. And also, it's kind of the side of me that loves to just sing along with stuff, and the poppiness of everything and the catchiness of everything is kind of like, oh, why'd you have to do that? You know, like, I really do dislike it when a band has been around long enough that they kind of refuse to do what you think that they're going to do, and they just try to do things that are weird and that they've never done before, and they throw all these unfamiliar ideas and things into songs just so that they can say that they're doing something different. I really dislike that when a band does that, and I don't think every album has to be the same in a band's career at all. But I don't like just being different for the sake of being different, you know, if there's a reason for it. And I didn't really necessarily get that feeling with this. It does seem more like I said that the album that I like is the outlier, and that this is maybe a little bit more in tune with what they're doing. So I'm not too sure, but I would say I did like the album. I would say I liked the album overall, but I definitely don't like it as much at all as their previous album. And I know I was talking it up and hyping it up a lot at the front of the album, but I just, you know, I didn't really think it could live up to my expectations, but you want things. Like, every album I listen to every year, I want to be my number one album of the year. I want that to be the case. It's just, you know, not every album can be fantastic. And I've listened to a lot of things this year that I didn't expect to be in my like contention for top 12, and there's a lot of stuff in it that is, and I'm very happy about that. So let me know in the comments other bands I should maybe check out, and then other albums of theirs that you recommend in their catalog that now that you know that I love As I Try Not to Fall Apart so much, but then also other bands that you think I should check out. Like I said, I am very familiar with Interpol. I've listened to all of their albums, and I think that I really don't like any album of theirs that they've released over the last like 4 albums or so. I think their last album was a little better than their one before that, which was terrible. El Pintor, I think, was just awful. Unless I could be getting it mixed up, but I love their first 3 albums specifically, and I love Editors, some of their stuff a lot. Like I said, Violence is in my top 5 albums, maybe. So let me know something that's along these lines that I should check out. And if you enjoyed this and stuff like this, like I said, check out the channel, because we are definitely going to do a Joy Division reaction here on the channel, and then maybe some of that other stuff. I know I've talked with Cody about Echo and the Bunnymen before, but maybe we should do an Echo and the Bunnymen reaction. I'm not too sure. Off the top of my head, I don't know what they sound like at all. So we'll just have to see. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I do appreciate the time you've spent with me, and I hope to see you again around next time. And like I said, stick around or come back to the channel and find us sometime towards the end of December, when we are going to be releasing our top 12 albums of the year video, or videos. I'm not sure if we'll have it 2 or 1 video this year, but come find us then. Maybe we'll talk more about White Lies. We'll have to see if I give this album a few more listens. I will see you all, hopefully, then.
Don't do that. Saxophone sounds like an animal dying. Always like some sort of screeching rat.